Okay, I just got a phone call back from the FDA and a lady named Amy. She's supposed to be the best lady to answer any questions regarding vaccines, so we're going to try and call her back again. That's 1-800-835-4709. So any of you guys can call her also.
This is Laura. May I help you?
Yes, ma'am. I'm trying to get some questions answered regarding vaccines, and Amy called me back, but I called her back and I got a voicemail. Is there anybody there that I could actually talk to now or no?
Yes, I can certainly help you, sir. I just didn't know if you had already spoken with Amy and,
No, I
dealt with her, but I can certainly help you with your questions.
Oh, fabulous. Now, your name is?
My name is Laura.
Okay, Laura, and you're with the FDA, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Regarding vaccines, I've been doing some research, and I have concern about MRC-5. Can you explain to me exactly what MRC-5 is?
Yes, the MRC-5 refers to what we call it's a cell line. It's an immortal cell line, and originally, I believe it was created in 1963 or something like that. This is the whole story. From a legally aborted fetus, they obtained these cells, and it became an immortal cell line. So basically, what that means is the vaccine manufacturers have to be able to grow up whatever virus that they need to in order to make the vaccine. Because it's an immortal cell line, which means that it never dies. They use this, and it's not just one manufacturer, but other places use the same cell line when they make their product. And the reason they keep using the same one is because it's immortal, but also if they kept changing cell lines, they'd have to validate those processes every single time.
Well, it's not really.
That is the reason.
It's not really immortal. They just reclone it, correct?
Well, it's immortal in that most cell lines die off eventually. So they'll expand it, they'll grow it up, they'll use it, they'll test it, and then it just fizzles out. This one is an immortal line that it doesn't fizzle out. They have had it, like I said, since I want to say 1963, and it is still going strong.
But it's not it's not the original one. It's been recloned and recloned and recloned. I mean,
it is technically the original one. In other words, it is the original cells. They expand them, whatever, and then they freeze each aliquot, and then I know they still have the original.
Wow.
But you're right. They've cloned. They've expanded it from one, and then again, it's such a hardy cell line that's the reason that it's still in there. I mean, people always want to say, why do we have that in there? But it's because it is such a hardy cell line, and if they'd had to create every single time using new cell lines every year, we would never have vaccines, because it would take forever to validate those new processes, and you're introducing variants every single time.
Okay, now, and this is one of the things why I needed confirmation, because every time I tell somebody that this is aborted fetus DNA from the baby from 1966, everybody says, no, this is not being used, that I'm crazy. But you're confirming that, yes, it was an aborted fetus, that, yes, they've continued to use that cell line since 66. And I think it was used in the MMR vaccine, the polio vaccine, the varicella vaccine, and a few others, correct?
That's correct. Most of the people have concerns with the MMR, though. That seems to be the one that they target all the time. But yes, you're correct in that. But it was a legally aborted fetus. It's not and I think this is where people get really concerned, is they think that, that they're constantly aborting fetuses in order to manufacture the product, and that's not correct. It was one legally aborted fetus, and those cell lines have been used since then.
Okay, well, I really appreciate you answering that question. Now, another question I have is, have we ever done any kind of studies done to show that it's okay to put another person's DNA into our own? And what's the what could happen when you do that?
I'm sure there are studies, sir, but you would have to do like a PubMed search as far as, that kind of question. Obviously, back in 60-some when this was first created, I don't think they had those particular studies, but as time has evolved, I'm sure there's studies that address, incorporating or using cell lines with the DNA,
Because, I just have a concern that, could that alter my children or myself's DNA? I mean, do we know
No,
that...
it should not, because again, this is just a cell line. It's kind of like culture media when you think of it this way. You want to grow up something, but you have to keep it alive in the meantime. And this is the food for the virus. Okay, so they grow in these cell lines, but it's not like, how can I explain it? It's not like they're commingling with each other. It's just that the vaccine needs that cell line just to sustain itself, and just long enough that they're able to extract the virus and then, make their vaccine. It's not like, like a big chemistry experiment where you're taking a piece of this and splicing another piece of that. No, it's not that intricate. It's strictly, we need to grow it. This is what it grows best in. And once we get it to that point where we're ready for it, then we're done with that cell environment. It's done.
Okay.
And the actual manufacturing process breaks down a lot of stuff too. So that's the other thing. When they manufacture these things, a lot of times they use intense heat, or they use intense freezing, or the actual process that they make their vaccines. Even during that time, it's going to break things and destroy things along the way. So I think the risk that you're talking about, if it even exists, would be incredibly minuscule. But
again, hopefully the CDC or the FDA or these vaccine companies have done some kind of study to show that it's safe to inject somebody else's DNA into ourselves.
But we're not really injecting somebody else's DNA in ourselves. That's what I'm saying. That's not happening.
Okay.
It's a cell line. We grow up the virus. The virus is growing up. It's not taking stuff with it. It's just eating. It's keeping itself alive until they use it to make to manufacture the vaccine. It's not like. That's what I'm saying. It's hard to explain, but I'm sure there are studies that what you're talking about as far as a true mixing of DNA of different people or whatever. That I know there's studies on that.
Okay, because the reason why I bring this up is I think 2 months ago, maybe 3 months ago, a company out of Italy, I think their name was Corvella, they did an analysis of the MMR vaccine. And when they did this analysis, they found, the complete total genome of that MRC-5 completely, totally intact. And then the thing that was very concerning with me is that they found it intact, but they also found that it had 560 potential cancer genes in it. And I would think that back in the 60s, when we decided to use this, legally aborted fetus DNA, that somebody would have done analysis on that genome. And when they found out that it had, 1 or 2 or 10 potential cancer genes, I thought we would at least looked at utilizing another one. And, once they found out it had 560 cancer genes, why in the world would we have ever used that? I know it's potential, but, I'd like to find one that had 0. Why would they have used this aborted fetus DNA with 560 potential cancer genes in it? Do you have any answers to that?
I would say let's question the study to begin with. I mean, like you said, I know you said it's an Italian study. It's very sensational. Obviously, people are going to be concerned. But you have to look at the source of the study. You have to look at the quality. I mean, honestly,
well, there's no quality. That's just analysis. I mean, anybody can do that. All you do is take the DNA and sequence it, and you guys should be able to see exactly what they see in the vaccine companies. So, if that's true, why in the world would we be continue to utilize? I know you said that this DNA is, ongoing and lives forever, but if it's got 560 cancer genes, would that be concerning to you? Because it sure as hell is concerning to me.
Right, but again, you have to look at the study. I mean,
but if the study's real, and it's conclusive that it does have 560 potential cancer genes.
Yeah.
Is that not?
And obviously that would be, yeah, of course that would be of concern to us. Absolutely.
Could you bring that up to somebody high up in the vaccine at the FDA to please look at this study? Because I've looked at it, I've had other doctors look at it, and it's very conclusive, and we need some answers, because why are we using this DNA that has 560 potential cancer genes in it? Somebody in the FDA, because I asked the CDC and they said to call you guys, so I need somebody to look at this, because this is, as a parent and as a human being, this is something that I don't think should ever be utilized on the population.
Okay. Okay, sir.
So is there somebody you can bring that to their attention and somebody could call me back, or no?
I mean, the best thing would be to send it to our email.
Send it to an email?
Send it to our email. We have a OCUD email.
Okay, well, who would be the highest person up within the FDA that would actually look at this, and I can get some kind of correspondence telling me that this is a bogus study?
It would probably go to our vaccine group.
Okay.
So would one of those people would be reviewing it and giving us an answer to in turn hand back to you.
Okay, so can you give me the email address of, because I want to make sure somebody looks at this, and I need some kind of response from somebody within the FDA saying they've looked at it and saying the study is false or not real. If it is real, what are we going to do about it? So what's that email address?
It's OCOD, O-C-O-D, like the codfish.
Okay.
At FDA.
Okay.
Dot HHS, like Harry Sally.
Okay.
.gov.
.gov. Okay. Can you make sure somebody within that group knows that I'm sending them an email to make sure it's looked at and not just discarded as
No, sir, we don't discard
okay.
things that come in. I don't know why people think that.
I know,
we
but
attend to everything that comes in.
Well, a lot of times we don't get responses and whatnot. People think that, and again, I've never sent anything to the FDA, so I don't know. So that's why I'm asking.
Right.
I just want to make sure.
Absolutely.
And again, I'm just.
Yeah, no, it's going to our email, and you will get a response. If it's going to take a while, like I said, it's going to have to be run by our vaccine people. They'll give you an interim thing if it's going to take some time, but otherwise you should get your answer pretty quickly.
Well, ma'am, I so appreciate you taking the time to answer these questions. It's very encouraging to get somebody on the phone. And your name again is?
This is Laura.
Laura, and you're with the FDA. This isn't a call center. You work with the FDA, correct?
Yes, sir. I work within the Center for Biologics.
Okay. It's been a pleasure talking to you, and I so appreciate it. I'll be sending that email now.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.